Going on, guys? Today's video, we're back again for another installment on the Audi RS3 series. Today we're going to be doing a quick just walk around, do a brief overview on the car. We'll just go over everything we've done thus far in terms of all of our modifications and upgrades. So without further ado, let's get into it. So take a look at the exterior of the car. Pretty straightforward. This is a 2018 Audi RS3 in Daytona gray. This one has the black optics package, a very simplistic model. Doesn't really have any crazy equipment options or anything like that, which I actually do prefer. So let's do a quick little walk around of the exterior here. Suspension right now is currently stock. I do have some plans for some springs in the future. I really like the bronze New Speed wheels. I actually got these as like a package deal when I bought the car, so I think they look pretty good. I think it does suit the color as far as just the bronze with the gray. Looks nice. Now I know a lot of people always have the question, you know, square setup versus a staggered setup. I'm not the biggest fan of the reverse staggered setup just because you can't really rotate the tires in a traditional fashion. This is a square setup, so I obviously have the freedom to rotate as I please. So the brakes are stock. As you guys know, these cars already have pretty massive, like oversized big brake kits from factory. This one does have the EBC Red Stuff pad upgrade. The EBC Red Stuff is a good option, I would say, for like a street car if you're not looking to go too aggressive, something that provides a little bit more of a responsive bite without getting crazy. I've used these pads on my A3 as well as the S6, and I've always been pretty pleased with them. So let's go ahead and pop the hood. We'll see what we got underneath. All right, so taking a look at the 5-cylinder Daza, always probably my favorite Audi engine overall. You guys might have seen a most recent video, did some bolt-on upgrades. Starting off, we've got this all-new CTS. This is their new 5-inch air intake. Pretty massive, pretty ridiculous. Sounds pretty insane. This crazy, like, oversized open filter. Probably a little tough to see, but we also did install the CTS, the 4-inch inlet pipe. Really nice. Definitely a big improvement over stock. It's just the whooshiness, man, is just so obnoxious, but yet so satisfying. So one of the biggest points of failure on these cars is the factory plastic dipstick for the oil. It will break. Like, this whole entire piece will crumble and it'll just break right off. We just replaced the dipstick with the new upgrade from Racing Line. This is a billet dipstick for the oil. So if you're looking for something that's nice, reliable, it's not going to crumble and break off, I definitely want to grab one. I'll be sure to link all of these upgrades in the description box down below for your build. Something else that I did on this car as well, I did the CTS, the intercooler upgrade. Basic direct fitment, nothing crazy. It fits in the stock location, no cutting, no trimming, anything like that. You might have seen I had done an unboxing video on that a little while back. I actually ordered just like the basic silver, and surprisingly, when I opened the box, I got the anodized black one, which I really think it kind of fits that same like stealthy look, ties in with like the black optics package. So it was a pleasant surprise. Been very pleased with the results. In my opinion, an intercooler, it's like one of those non-negotiable upgrades. That's always going to be one of the first things I do. Anytime you've got a forced induction application, you want to make some more power, cooler air, it's obviously going to provide better performance. As far as software in the car, we are currently running Unitronic Stage 1 Plus 93. Great tune, very pleased with the results. I think if you're looking for a very simplistic upgrade that doesn't really require any hardware modifications, it's a daily street car, not looking to go crazy with it, I do think that Unitronic is a consistently reliable option for the 5-cylinder. Did also bundle that together with the Unitronic Stage 2 TCU upgrade. Very crisp, snappy, responsive shifts. I'm a firm believer, anytime you're going to make a software upgrade, you're looking to make more power, it's always best course of action to combine your ECU and TCU software at the same time for best results. Now, something else that you can't really see on the car, I did do the ECS, that dog bone insert. Always something that helps with DSG cars. If you want to cut down some of that slop, that clunkiness in the driveline, you want a little bit more crisp responsiveness from the DSG, I always recommend some type of dog bone insert. In this particular application, this polyurethane mount, no additional NVH, nothing disruptive, nothing uncomfortable, doesn't make any kind of rattling noise. So the polyurethane insert, it's a very cost-effective upgrade. I really only think it stands to help these cars. It's not going to cause any headaches for a daily driver. It's also a very simplistic install. something else under the hood worth mentioning. Can't really see it just because it's under this plastic cover, but I did also do the APR ignition coils. I've ran these on several Audis. I've had consistent results. I know this is an area where if you're trying to go max effort, just get every little bit of power out of these cars, it's always good to have a nice consistent coil pack. Sometimes the factory ones can fail just depending on age and mileage. So if you want peace of mind, if you're looking to make the most out of it, maybe have some age or mileage on the car, it's not a bad idea to upgrade your ignition coils. Now, moving on to exhaust, you guys saw we just did an installation for the CTS mid pipes. This car does have the factory sport exhaust, so a little bit more aggressive, get some nice crackles and pops. I do think that the mid pipes are a great option for people that if you don't want to have a lot of rasp, if you don't want to have a lot of drone, maybe you're not ready to commit to like the downpipe as of yet, and just want to kind of enhance like that factory Daza exhaust tone. I love the mid pipes. I think they're very impressive for what you're going to get for just a few $100 or less. All right, so that's just kind of a basic rundown as far as like where the car stands as of today for the Audi RS3. You know, it's been a great car, man. I've had a lot of fun with it. I know a lot of you guys have been following since the early days, back when I used to have the A3 or even like the S6. So I definitely appreciate everyone's longtime viewership and support. It's been an exciting venture, you know, just getting into some different applications, learning more about these cars, kind of just growing as a car enthusiast. So I'm glad we can kind of share these things and provide some information just in case you're thinking about getting one of these cars. You kind of have sort of a guideline as far as where to get started and where you end up going. As far as like future plans and upgrades, I really would like to do some springs. You know, we do have a little bit of wheel gap. I talked about like the wheel and tire setup. I do think that it would make sense to kind of bring this down ever so slightly. So perhaps we'll look at like a basic set of springs. I know 034 is kind of the more popular option, maybe New Speed, maybe one of those other companies. We'll take a look at some options. We'll kind of weigh our pros and cons, but you know, this is not something that's going to see like any insane, like crazy track use or anything like that. So I don't think for a street car, it really makes sense to invest that deeply in like a highly adjustable set of coilovers. So probably some type of spring set will be more than enough. And again, just in case you guys were wondering a little bit more information about the wheel and tire setup, we're dealing with these New Speed bronze 19 by 8.5 inch wheels. This is a square setup, so we're not running a reverse staggered factory setup. The tire size, you can see right here, it's actually a 245/35/19, so just a little bit wider than the factory square fitment. The factory size for the square setup would actually be 235/35/19, so we're actually running just ever so slightly wider with the 245s, which I don't think looks bad. I mean, I definitely think that like a person could certainly go a little bit more aggressive, but I don't like the tires to poke out too much. So I think for my intended purpose, it's a decent option. It's not bad. I've been pretty happy overall with the Firehawk Indy 500s. It seems like a lot of people hate on these tires for some reason. I think they're pretty decent for all things considered. It's a lot less money than a Michelin. I don't necessarily need the most expensive of everything, like for my realistic use of the car. So if you're in the market for like a affordable summer tire, I would definitely recommend checking them out. This is actually the second set I've had. My last S6, I also ran these tires on a 600 horsepower S6. You know, it's a twin turbo V8. So I'd say if it's good enough for that car, it's definitely good enough for the RS3. Now, one of the questions I get asked a lot of times is, will I be going stage 2 on the Audi RS3? Stage 2 is definitely a great place to be. Get a little bit more top end power, obviously with the downpipe. I do think that a lot of times it's a little bit tough to make that commitment just considering the unique difficulty and complexity with the downpipe installation on these cars. For those of you guys that may or may not know, this is not the kind of thing that you're gonna do like crawling on your back on jack stands in like your buddy's garage. I mean, you need to have a lift. You're gonna have to lower the subframe, right? You're gonna need a special drive shaft removal tool to be able to get the drive shaft out of the way to remove the downpipe. And then from there, once you reassemble everything, get it back all together, then you're gonna have to align the car. So just be completely aware, like if you're new to this, or if you're thinking about, you know, you're just gonna knock it out in your buddy's house in his garage, I mean, hey, if you can do it, by all means, man, you go for it. But I'm just letting you guys know, this is not just like a really quick in and out type of job. So that's one thing that kind of holds people back, myself included, with just rushing into stage 2. I'm not saying that it won't ever happen. It's definitely something that I have on my radar, but with the way these cars are already so fast, stage 1, for street use at least, it's a little tough to make that commitment. So we'll see what the future holds. I'm not saying I won't do it, but I do have a couple different possibilities, kind of reaching that fork in the road with whatever direction I decide to take this car. So perhaps we'll go stage 2, but there are some other options now as far as ways to get more power on these vehicles without necessarily upgrading downpipe. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's mod list overview. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Be sure to share your thoughts, comments in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel, follow along. If you have any questions, be sure to hit me up on Instagram or leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to check out the whole playlist. So be sure to put a card right up here somewhere. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.